Okay, so in high school growing up, I did not necessarily have the best of friends. All my friends drank every weekend, almost all the days during the week. They stole, and eventually I got into that rut where I was following exactly what they were doing. And eventually it led me to go into this horrible place where I was not a happy person. And I think that this can lead into the quote, "If the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch," which is in the Bible. So I definitely agree with this, and I think that it can apply to 3 parts of life. First, I think that it can apply to a relationship, it can apply to your friends, and it can apply to your family. So the first point I'm going to make is that it can apply to your relationship. If you're in a relationship that neither one of you are truly committed to, where is that going to end up except for heartbreak or being alone? So for example, I have a friend who is dating this guy and they're just not meant to be together. I mean, they're just in it for fun, not going anywhere serious with their life. And neither one of them are goal-oriented, and they're not doing well in their lives and not doing well in school because of the influence they have on each other. Second point I want to make is friends. And again, that reverts back to what I said about your friends being a bad influence on you and maybe taking you down to their level. I don't think that they necessarily made me a bad person, but I definitely learned from it. And I think that if you're being pressured into doing things that you necessarily shouldn't be doing, then you are blind, and so are your friends. And the third point I want to make is family. I also have another friend who has an alcoholic father, and she is now becoming an alcoholic herself. And I think that that can also go back to the blind leads the blind, because I think that her father is blind and not necessarily leading a good path for her. So she is also following his role, and they're both about to fall into a ditch, as the quote says. So all in all, I do agree with my quote that if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch, because it can apply to your relationship, your friends, and your family. And hopefully you guys don't be led by the blind. Hopefully you guys are led somewhere good.
Don't put it back there. Thank you. That's your souvenir for the day. Well, I liked your use of the personal experience as an attention device, and I thought you had an excellent transition and statement of what your thesis was. There's a very clear preview of what the structure is going to be, easy to follow later on. Internally, you're doing the same kind of thing. You've got signposts as you're getting to each of those points, so there's no problem with the organizational material. The examples are okay. Sometimes I think that it's a little abstract. You talk about your friend's romantic relationship, for instance, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is their problem with each other is. I mean, it's going nowhere. How can you tell as an outsider that it's going nowhere? You'll fill in some examples. You'll be thinking about it later on today. It'll come, oh, I could have said that. I could have said that. Everybody gives a better speech in the car on the way home. You know, it's like, oh, I should have said that. You know, as an illustration. But the points were pretty good, and like I said, it was very well organized. You project your voice very effectively. I thought there's variety. I think you could use a little bit more variety, both in your voice and the pacing. It's very regular. You're smooth and fluent while you're speaking, but sometimes you need to pause a little bit for emphasis, let an idea sink in a little bit, let us kind of consider it before you're going on to the next idea, and you just seem like you're not rushing, but you are kind of barreling through to the next point. You know, let me just keep going. I've gotten started and I want to keep going. And sometimes you need to for effect, let the audience catch up with you. Gestures, there are some good indicators. Be careful about the paper in your hand, because you do not play with it a little bit, but you are waving it a little bit, and so that seems a little excessive. I know it's just the topic. Very good eye contact with the audience. You look very confident while you're speaking to us. No anxiety issues that I saw at all. I thought you had an excellent summary at the end of the speech, so we know exactly the point that you're trying to make. Thank you.